In this episode, we're going to talk about what you need to position yourself to have the best year yet. And listen, there's some crazy things happening in the market right now. It's an election cycle, lots of people pivoting and shifting. We're seeing YouTubers quit YouTube channels at mass rates. What's actually going on? We're going to talk about all of that and more in today's episode coming up. Familia, I hope that you're having an amazing start to your year. We're going to talk about how to position yourself for your very best year. I know that everyone is talking about this right now, but I think that there is some really interesting trends and some predictions, some things that you need to know about that are really brewing in the business world right now, including how we're entering this, what I call a winter business cycle. And it has nothing to do with the weather, by the way. It has nothing to do with the weather and everything to do with how the market is shifting. There's a lot of things happening behind the scenes that are really affecting small businesses. And maybe you're already feeling it. Listen, if you have noticed that your sales are slowing down, if you've noticed that your lead flow is stagnant, if you've been noticing that it's taking you a little bit more work, a little bit more energy, a little bit more creativity to close clients and add more revenue to your bottom line, you're not alone. Lots of people feeling the burn right now. Some interesting things happen towards the end of 2023. Where quarter four normally is a really profitable quarter. It's the most profitable quarter for most businesses. We saw sales kind of take a nosedive, and it's a really interesting thing that's happening in the market right now. So it's not you. You're not alone if that's kind of how you're feeling this burn. And maybe your sales kind of were not what you expected in 2023. There's a good reason for it. In fact, we're seeing this shift here, and I don't want you to think that this is like, a negative Nancy situation. There's a lot of positive things happening this year too, but we have to first talk about the truth, right? We have to ditch the airy-fairy advice that most people talk about. The economy sucks. Listen, it sucks. There's a lot of things that are happening in the market that are not so great, but there's also a lot of opportunity. And we're going to talk about positioning yourself to grow and to improve and to build more and more resiliency, to build cash flow, to thrive in any economy. We've been warning about this for 3 years inside our membership and on this podcast as well. So kind of the writing was on the wall. It happens. However, as we kind of understand context, I find it helps me to understand what's actually happening in the market. So you're kind of seeing a bunch of things colliding at once, right? You're seeing interest rates skyrocketing last year because we have this record inflation, total mismanagement, in my opinion, from our government. Lots, and you can point fingers to one administration or the other, let's not have that debate right now. The point is that there's a lot of shenanigans, lots of shenanigans. There's an election cycle coming up, and I feel like people are really concerned right now. Consumer confidence is pretty down. Customers and consumers, they're feeling that pain in their wallet. I don't know. What is it? Groceries have gone up 30%. Everything keeps going up and up and up. Lots of tech companies, even tech companies, just hiking their prices like crazy. And so everyone's kind of feeling the burn, right? So you have consumers on one side of things, feeling that they're being very choosy with where they spend their money. I don't know if you've heard about this, but Black Friday sales for a lot of small businesses last year were about 50% fewer than the previous year. And so we're definitely seeing, the slide come in with just economic policy, and just in general, the economy it's pretty stagnant right now. However, where does that leave us, right? How do we actually respond instead of react to that as small business owners? And this is so important as you're crafting your strategy and your plan for 2024. So important to understand as you're building your marketing plan, as you're figuring out what your strategy needs to look like. Because a lot of people, here's what's going to happen. A lot of small business owners are going to just throw in the towel. They're going to be like, you know what? I just need to get a job. I just need to Netflix and chill. This is not the time to build a business. Wrong. Absolutely wrong. In fact, people who actually know how to position their business to thrive in any economy, build that resiliency, and capitalize on the opportunity. So the upside of all of this, like how do you actually position yourself, is that you start thinking, okay, if I know that people are being more choosy with their dollars, I also know that people are still spending, right? Like if you look at how much money was spent in Black Friday alone, the number is still outrageous. Like we're talking about billions of dollars spent over Black Friday. And so people are still spending money. They're just choosing to spend their money in places where they're being more strategic. They're being more specific. They're specifically going with brands and with businesses that cater to them. They're looking for specificity. They're looking for a custom experience. And so if you think about how you can actually create a custom experience for your audience, number one, you need to get super specific on who you serve. This is not the time to be the solution and solve the problem for all people. You cannot be, first of all, that's kind of impossible. You cannot be everything to everyone because then you're nothing to no one. But you also want to think about how you niche down even more in your business. How can you create a very custom experience? You need to know who your ideal person is, and you need to cater your products and your services for them. One of the examples I love using is the difference between a company like Tesla and a company like Hyundai, for example, right? One of them is going mass market and they play a volume game. So they're trying to, pump out as many cars as possible for the general audience. There's not really a specific kind of person that they're catering an experience or a product for. Whereas a company like Teslas are specific for a specific type of person. And they're also high ticket, right? There's a difference in the price point as well. They're very catered to one individual person, like an experience that only someone in technology usually will actually appreciate. Like, that someone's in tech because they drive a Tesla in Austin. It's hilarious. Their factory is here. And so we have many friends. They own a Tesla. They own, the high-end Tesla, $80,000+, and they've already, prepaid for the Cybertruck. And it's really, you need 2 Teslas? That's how much they love the experience. That's how much they buy into the brand. So how can you be that ideal solution for that one person instead of trying to be the ideal solution for many? Something we're even doing in our company, we're niching down even more and really getting focused on who do we serve? The other thing you need to think about is what strategy can you employ right now? Chris talks about this a lot. He's dubbed it focusing on PWMs, and those are players with money. And it's so true. In any economy and in any niche, there's always players with money that will spend money no matter what. There's people whose income bracket is unaffected by the economy, that is unaffected by inflation. I'm not saying that's everybody, of course, but there's always people in niches that are willing to pay premium. And right now, interestingly, high ticket is selling better than ever. Like, we have never sold more high ticket. We've seen our mentors, our coaches, the people who are kind of like our colleagues in online business experience the same thing. And so in my opinion, thinking about how you can have a high ticket offer can make a huge, huge difference. So in every niche, you have to think about how can you provide a white glove treatment style offer, a high ticket offer, something that's, you kind of get the best service, the best experience for your customer, but it's high end. And that takes getting unblocked. That takes, getting rid of your limiting beliefs. It took me a long time to be okay with selling a high ticket offer. And can you kind of go through the emotions of like, oh my gosh, can I deliver, enough value? Do I have enough skill? But you just have to go for it and test the market and see what happens. Pitch your offer, pitch it to a couple clients, see how it goes. It's such an amazing thing to incorporate into your business, especially during this time. And I know that sounds counterintuitive, but listen, I don't make the rules of the market. The market makes its own rules. So while high ticket is working, introduce something like that into your business. The third thing is, guys, listen to this one. This one's so important. You cannot afford to be a lazy marketer anymore. Like, you just cannot afford to be lazy. It does not work anymore to have like a good intention, to try harder on your content, to occasionally show up on social media, to maybe send an email once a month to your list, to, perhaps just kind of think about the fact that maybe you're going to launch once or twice this year. No, that doesn't work anymore. It does not work. You need to have a marketing strategy and a marketing plan. Just this whole coasting thing, you know what's going to happen? Nothing's going to happen. Literally, like no cash flow, no sales, no leads. And I don't know about you, but tons of people in our community are feeling this intense urgency around figuring out their marketing. Like, they've been kind of coasting, 2020 was good online. 2021 was really good too, because all of that pandemic money was like rushing in, all that aid money, all the stuff we printed. And a lot of people were looking to online, but then 2020 hit and it was like, okay, things are getting real. And then 2023 hit and it was like, things are getting realer. So now we're 2024, right? This is the culmination of that. This is a normal cycle and it'll continue to happen, by the way. It's just a matter of how do you pivot and how do you change. But you cannot use the same strategies that you used in 2020 and 2021 to address a market in 2024. You're going to have to get creative. You're going to have to really know your people. You're going to have to be able to adapt. And more importantly, you need a plan and you need a strategy. So I want you to listen to 2 episodes that I pulled for you that kind of go in hand with this. It's all about how to create a content marketing plan for businesses, for entrepreneurs. So you're going to listen to season 2, episode 6. That's a really good episode on how to actually create a content marketing plan. And then season 4, episode 12 of the podcast, Crush It with Content Marketing, a guide for entrepreneurs. That series, that episode, and then the ones that follow are really great. So those are some resources where you can actually kind of get your feet wet into the content marketing world, have a solid plan, a strategy. And of course, if you want even more help, come join us inside of the Business Lounge. You can check out the wait list. I'll have it linked in the description. We're going to be opening up that program in the next couple months. So it'll be really awesome. That's all we do is focus on marketing and setting up marketing systems. Okay, the next thing, I really want you to focus on making sure that you're surrounding yourself with people who lift you up. People who can guide you, people who can actually give you amazing direction. Surround yourself with mentors, surround yourself with people that really can guide you through this process, because it's so important to see the opportunity and then be able to adapt. It really is the difference between growing a business successfully in every season or just totally floating around, running around in a content hamster wheel, running around in the marketing hamster wheel, running around in the creator hamster wheel, and not actually making any headway. I think this is a year where we have to double down on our business and really get focused and strategic and do less, not more. I'm even seeing a lot of the experts in our space who used to give the advice that like, you need to create more content and more content. And like, that's great. I love creating more content, but being strategic about it is more important than creating quantity. So a lot of them are kind of coming back to this other side where we have been preaching for a long time that you just want to be more strategic. It's not about necessarily creating more content. AI coming into the scene really disrupted a lot of content creation. And so people are seeing content as less and less valuable. At the same time, they're leaving social media because everyone's fighting about politics. And we're having a social media recession, right? So people are pulling back. They're being more choosy with who they want to actually hang out with, who they want to listen to, who they want to consume content. And I've talked about this at length on the podcast and on YouTube. People that I felt led and had discernment around the world, what was happening, as institutions were crumbling and the world changed and we entered a new normal, whatever that means. I just really was like, ooh, can't listen to that. That's not good. Or, hey, like I'm in a different season, right? I'm looking at building my business this way, not that way. And so I really even clamped down on my consumption That's, I think, what's happening in the mass market right now. So it's even more specific and more important that you are super clear on what you're going to be doing more of and what you're going to be doing less of. That might mean that you need to go all in on your blog. That might mean that you need to go all in on search with YouTube or SEO. That might mean that you need to really launch that podcast that you've been waiting a really long time to do, because you know that that's the thing that's going to help you really build clients and build a ton of value and nurture people. And you got to stop doing the things that are not working. You got to stop spending an inordinate amount of time scrolling on Instagram, an inordinate amount of time putting together reels. If that's no longer bringing you sales, and I'm not saying that everyone needs to stop doing that, but you need to take a hard look at what's working and what's not working, and then get laser focused on what is. We were coaching one of our students, actually. She was telling us, I feel so guilty about, not being on Instagram and Facebook and creating micro content. I was looking at her numbers. I was telling, I don't care that you don't do content on Instagram or Facebook. You're killing it on YouTube. That's your platform. And more importantly, you're growing your email list at a ridiculous rate without even having a proper website. So that's amazing. Those are the things that matter. Like that email list, that audience on YouTube, that's what's already working in her business. That's how she's selling people. That's how she's finding people. And so I was like, don't worry about here. Don't worry about here. For some of you, that advice might be the opposite, right? You're doing a lot of long form, but no one is actually like connecting with you in a community setting. And maybe you need to do a little bit more on social media. The point here isn't to have a specific strategy that applies across the board, because I don't know your business. The point is for you to look back into what's actually worked for you and double down there. For us, that's our email list. It is our email list. If I had to choose between being on Instagram and my sending emails, all day, every day, I will send emails, because 80% of our sales come from our email list. It's so powerful. And so doing less, but focusing in on the things that really matter in your business, that's what this year is all about. So listen, I hope that this advice was helpful. I hope that it got your wheels turning. I hope that we were able to navigate through some potential not so great news about 2024, and also help you think about it from the perspective of, okay, where's the opportunity? Where do I need to go? How do I pivot and position my business for growth? We're going to talk about all of this even more in this month's series. I'm so excited. Next week, we're going to dive even deeper into how do you actually combat some of the fear around shifting your business, around, looking at launching something new, doing something different in 2024. I'm going to be sharing all the things that I struggle with and that I've been afraid to do the last 2 years, because let me tell you, the last 2 years have stretched the heck out of me. But I'm so excited, because on the other side of that stretching has been so much growth and so much resiliency. So I want to share that with you. We're also going to talk about creating your marketing plan and continue talking about how do you actually set incredible goals for 2024. So do not miss out on that. It's going to be amazing. I appreciate you. This year is going to be amazing. We have so much in store for the show as well as for our business in general. And so from all of us here at Kim & Co, we love you. Thank you for listening. Un beso. And let's make 2024 your best year yet, no matter what. Let's do it.